Hi, I'm Hannah, originally from Albuquerque, New Mexico, live in Colorado since my senior year of high school. I have two beautiful kids, Jasmine, age 20, William, age 11, severely autistic. My background was in banking and mortgage, and now I'm a full-time parent for William.
Hi, I'm Chris, William's dad. I'm William's CNA. I take care of William, full-time. Prior to that, I was in the entertainment industry. Still with that. And then he's just been the joy of my life since he's been born.
We don't have a lot of background in autism. In fact, we knew very little about it. But most people talked about it as though it were the end. And actually, it's not. He is very bright, and although I'm nonverbal, he is capable of a lot of things. He's taught a lot of people what it's like to be accepting people who are different. He's up 20 out of 24 hours a day, so you have to have, as a family, work as a team. You have to be able to balance each other, stay together 24/7, and still work on the things that you can't change, such as the therapies, the doctor's appointments, the dentist appointments, the meltdowns. It's a 24/7 job. It can be dangerous sometimes. He can wander off. However, if you made a few changes, you can make it a very positive experience for your entire family. And you can teach people that this is not the end or a death sentence. You could actually use some of the supports available in order to benefit William, to be a productive part of society. These kids are no longer institutionalized. You can keep them at home. It's just a matter of how much effort you want to put into it. And it takes 100%, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day.
Yeah, it takes two people to deal with this. It's like with our situation, I handle the physical stuff for William. I do all of his care work, his physical stuff. Hannah takes care of all the paperwork, all the advocacy stuff, which is really tough. William wouldn't have anything if it wasn't for her. But on the other hand, I do all the physical stuff that William requires. And he's a tough guy, but I love him to death. And he takes a lot of work, but it takes a team effort for both of us.
Because William is nonverbal, we have an extensive camera system that we've had to place in the home so that we can keep an eye on him at any given time. Both Chris and I have devoted our life to making sure that he's not only safe but protected, because he can't speak and tell us if anything's going on or what's going wrong. So we've kind of made a haven inside our house, so that we've built a movie theater upstairs so that we could at least get a break and have dinner. And it's just important not to disconnect from your family. You still got to keep a good family unit and spend some time away from the child in order to have a successful marriage. But for William, we've actually built almost like a school in the bottom level. Chris, you can talk about the remodeling part.
With William's equipment, I put him in his own special bubble swing, which he loves. He spends all of his time there. Initially, he didn't like it at first, but I made it to where I put his equipment in front of it. His TV is mainly his equipment. His favorite thing in the whole world is his TV and his DVD player and remote. He'll sit there and he loves that swing. And then we built him a pool downstairs where he loves to swim constantly. So he would swim all year round, but in Colorado you can't do that. So we put in a pool downstairs for him. It's a little small pool, but it's a lap pool, but he still enjoys it. And like you said, we built a theater room. Gives us a chance to recharge so we can be our best with William. Not only that, when we travel, we would love to get on a plane and take him to California or wherever, but he's tough that way. So we bought him an RV. He has his own RV. That's how we travel. And take all of his stuff. It's just never ending. It's just we spare no expense for William. At one point we got him it's called a floating bed. It was this really nice bed that suspends off the ground. He floats in it. But since we moved from house to house, we actually came back here and moved back. We didn't reinstall it because we have to have structure for it. But we did do that for him, and he loved that swing bed that we bought him.
With autism, you have sensory perception disorder, and so movement for William is incredibly important. He has to be swinging, or walking on his toes, movement all the time. And they're not sure if it comes from anxiety or exactly what the disorder stems from. However, he's best when he's swinging, and that bubble gives him kind of a safe haven. He will also seek smaller spaces, so he has little rooms and areas that he can go into that feel more safe to him. With autism, they eat a very limited number of foods. He eats about 5 foods. It's very difficult to keep up with a diet like that. You've got to try to supplement it any way you can. And he's not exactly the easiest in order to switch stuff like foods. So we try to get creative and do the best job that we can. He's probably awake 20 out of 24 hours a day. And during that time, he's 100 miles a minute. He's very quick. He doesn't sense any or fear many things. If he will just dart out in front of a car, there's no safety guidelines for him. He doesn't have that safety instilled. So we worked with Greenwood Village in order to put some safety parameters out so that William, if he does happen to get out, they'll know where he belongs. It's things like this we have to worry about every day. There's a common misconception about autism that because you're nonverbal, that you don't have the intelligence or, quote, retarded. In fact, that is the label that has been with it for a very long time. It's quite the opposite. William is incredibly smart. He's very perceptive. He can spell better than most adults will ever spell. He uses an iPad and an augmentative communicative device in order to get his wishes across. Imagine having the intelligence and something to say but not being able to express yourself, and how frustrating that can be. And that's where some of the violence comes in. So we've been really careful to curb that, and he's been a really happy, well-adjusted child. Autism doesn't mean lack of understanding. Quite the contrary, he understands quite a lot, maybe a little too much sometimes, so we have to just slow him down. But he does have the ability to learn. He loves books. He watches videos in 7 different languages. And he's pretty much a master at opening any lock that you present to him. But he's happy, and he's vocal, and he'll grab your heartstrings. And although he doesn't speak verbally, he does speak through music. So he has a little playlist of songs he put together, and he talks to you through those videos and through the music that he hears. Kind of like...
Well, it's just like, some people don't think he's communicating. He's playing his DVDs or his iPad through he's playing his movies, his Disney movies, and he'll take segments off of each, off of the scene. And he's actually saying something. Some people think that, well, he's just playing with his movies. He's actually not. He's actually trying to talk to you with it. So at school, kids call him Bumblebee, like Transformers, where Bumblebee was a non-talking, non-verbal robot, and he communicates through his radio. That's what William does. So he's pretty popular with the kids at school. So they kind of call him Bumblebee at school because he communicates through his movies or songs. For instance, if he doesn't want to go to school, he'll play Pink Floyd, The Wall. We don't need no education. Or when he goes to his teacher, he's, hey teacher, leave them kids alone, stuff like that. So he's a clever little boy, and he pulls a lot of heartstrings at school, and he's pretty popular. So. And he is a very intelligent kid. People are amazed by that he can take those movies and communicate through them. So, and some of the therapists that we kind of butt heads with our therapists, that they think that, put his movies away. You can't. It's not productive. We think the opposite. That's how he communicates. That's that's how he connects. So I think that we just go with that. We kind of go against the grain as far as some of the therapists and some of the teachers and learning curves that we do. So we kind of go against that. But William's a happier kid because of it, and he uses that to communicate in his own way.
There's a downside to autism in the fact that the inability to communicate verbally can cause a lot of frustration. So as he's getting older and maturing, our biggest concern is the self-injury to himself and to others. We haven't had to deal with that very much, but now that he's 11 years old, we're starting to see a self-injury to his face, mostly his head area, knees, and although he feels pain, he doesn't react to it. So some of the challenges that we've been faced with are trying to keep that violence from coming up and trying to head it off before it actually becomes an issue. We will never allow William to hurt himself or anybody else, but it's difficult. You look at him, he's 60 pounds, 4'9", but the boy is strong. He can take down 3 adults. There can be 6 people in the room, and when he's agitated, you'll know it. So there's a lot of precautions you need to take. Doctors are quick to write prescriptions for that, and although there isn't a prescription to write for autism, they'll generally use drugs that are used for antidepressants for adults with nasty side effects. We've researched it all, talked to every doctor about it. There's just nothing that's out there, nothing available in order to help calm him and calm the inner anxiety that he feels. All of the medications that they have tried to give for us in order to calm down William is mainly for us, so that it could knock him out and we can get some sleep. But that's not what we're about. I want a more natural way to handle the autism and the behaviors that he's feeling. Because when he's not feeling pain or he's not having the frustration from not being able to communicate, then he's just like any other child. And he deserves that chance. So we want to make sure that anything that we do, anything that we give William is not going to have any sort of unpleasant side effects. We're not looking for a cure. We know there isn't a cure for autism, but we're looking for tools in order to help our life be more like everybody else's. And in saying that, we're not trying to mimic anyone. We just don't want him to have the violence or to strike out when he's upset. We want to give him the chance to be like other kids, not always being singled out, not being at school, he's the one that is kind of a novelty. We want him to be accepted. We have a lot more fears than most parents do, and we're going to research everything until we find a way to give him the best life that we can, because there's a lot of times he doesn't even understand himself what he's feeling. We want a more natural alternative to what's available, which honestly isn't very many options. And the violence is a part of life every single day. They will strike themselves, sometimes breaking bones in their body without any regard to you or their own physical body. And that's what our biggest concern is as he matures. So with autism, our options were pretty limited as far as medications. I researched every medication that was available to William, the so-called calming drugs. Couldn't do it. So I started to, about 7.5 months ago, look into all natural alternatives. William suffers from something that's similar to Crohn's disease, to where he can't absorb or utilize foods that he's eating. So I started to look online for all natural approaches. And it was suggested to me to look into cannabis. In all honesty, I would even admit it, but never did marijuana or anything, even recreational. So my first inclination was no. And the stigma attached to it wasn't as disconcerting to me, but I just thought, oh, it's drug. But the more I read about it and would see that there was a lot of people in Colorado who were calling it different things, hemp oil, do this, do that. It was confusing. So started to actually study on dispensaries in Colorado and what different programs they had. And because of William's Crohn's disease, I came upon a video and a link to a program called Act Now. And I was most interested in the fact of the cancer patients and their appetites and how they had all suffered some sort of irritable bowel syndrome or Crohn's disease, which sounded similar to what William was experiencing. I got more and more excited every time I would read about it and watch a video to see how this natural supplement was helping to increase appetite and to increase calmness and to give a better quality of life. And even though William isn't terminal, the symptoms were really similar. We both went that day, met Carissa, and she explained to us and how the Act Now worked and the Prana sublinguals that were going to be available through the Act Now program. And Dad administered the drop the very day that we had spent time with Carissa and understanding the program.
William's really good about taking these drops. He sees the bottle and just sticks his tongue out and takes them really super easy. When I first got them, I had to like hold him down to administer the drops, and it was something foreign to him. He goes, what is it? What do you put in my mouth? So gradually he got really used to it.
You have to understand that a dental appointment for our family consisted of having what they call bored kids. It is a common practice when kids are autistic in order to put them on a flat board and to restrain them, which is incredibly anxiety, incredible amounts of anxiety. So my mom actually made kind of a sack that's soft. We've had to use that since William was 2 years old. In order to think of just a regular dental cleaning, we actually had to put William under anesthetic in order to do that. So we've worked really hard to get him to go to the dentist. It's still a problem. And then now that he's had the drops, we've decided, well, we're not going to tell anybody about it because we want to hear what their honest opinion is about it. So we didn't tell anybody. We didn't tell the dentist or the school. We just let them come to us. So William he knew we was going to the dentist. We had the restraints ready and everything, and it wasn't necessary. I mean, he walked in. He still didn't like it, but he figured out, I mean, you could actually see him thinking about it. Hey, I know I'm going to the dentist, but he was calm. It was almost as though he could gather his thoughts. He's not been able to do that. Usually he's off in 10 different directions, but this time he was calm. He sat in the chair and he opened his mouth. And you have to realize that the reason William didn't want to take the drops in the first place was because he only knows medicine like Tylenol. We don't medicate him at all, but he does have to take Tylenol for pain, and he doesn't like it. So right away he thought the drops were pretty similar. So when Chris gave him the drops, he had this calm exterior all of a sudden, and I think that inside William, he could understand that the drops were there to help him. It was no longer medicine. So that's why he actually sticks his tongue out for it now, because it's not the taste, it's not the fact that it's a drop of medicine. To William, you're giving him liquid sunshine. Whatever we're doing for him, he understands it's for his benefit and his benefit only. And so he likes that calming feeling, which is why he sits still for it. And maybe, just maybe, we won't have to use restraints for the doctor or the dentist anymore, because he actually can think it through and say that the quicker we get through this, the better. He's not been able to gather those thoughts before. So this actually gave him a sense of being able to direct his feelings for something positive. And that is the first time in 11 years that William's been able to accomplish that. We're really fortunate to live in a district that really cares about special needs kids, and we have a great team that works at his elementary school, and they go out of their way for William. However, the violence would crop up on a daily basis. And when you meet William, you'll notice that he has some scarring here. He's more prone to hit there, probably because he hurts from having headaches and migraines. So again, we didn't tell the school what we were doing because there's a lot of stigma attached to it, not from embarrassment at all. We just wanted to see if they could see a difference without being told from us, so that they didn't have a biased opinion. Oh yeah, they were looking for changes. No, we didn't want to tell them anything had happened. So a typical day for William was, if we could even get him to stay in school, it would generally be between 2 and 2.5 hours. And it was a struggle to get him there, and it was a struggle for him to stay sitting for any length of time. And he was in a special needs program for 75% of the time versus 25% in a regular classroom. So we started the program, the drops, they worked immediate. The very first day, full day on the Prana program, the teacher, she sends back a back and forth book that kind of explains how his day went. And it was amazing because William is very underweight. They marveled at how hungry he was, which was for us music to our ears. And secondly, they talked about his focus and his ability to sit and listen to music. And you know, you could take that for granted with regular, normal functioning kids, but with William, this was something that we had been waiting to hear since he was in school. This was a boy who never could sit still for longer than 5 minutes, who wasn't included in physical activities, in plays, in reading, in spelling. And now they actually took pictures of him on that entire week of how he was in the gym and he was touching other kids, playing basketball, and how he was interacting, how calm he was. You got to see the eyes. I mean, he had focus in his eyes. He was, the anxiety wasn't there. You could see that there was somebody home, and instead of his eyes darting around because he wasn't sure what was happening next, he was calm. So it brought him to a level of satisfaction and to be able to learn and to sit for longer periods of time. He's going regularly now between 3.5 and 4 hours, which for us is huge. In all honesty, again, that side, the violent side or the self-injury side, people kind of tend to think he doesn't feel pain. He actually does, but imagine not being able to express it through words. So what William does is he actually strikes himself or others. So there were a lot of biting. You know, we all wore some padding on our shoulders and so forth because he would bite till he drew blood. And as William matures, after age 10, we notice some of the hormones kicking in, and he would get aggravated. Like a normal 10-year-old boy, his body was changing, growing pains. He would actually and could actually hit himself hard enough to break his nose or to injure his eyes or to actually open the skin here. He would bite his lip so hard that he would actually bite through to the front side. He would not stop. He would not stop hitting his chest until it was bruised or bloodied. And I would keep his nails short, but somehow, some way, he would hit hard enough to draw blood. It was concerning to us because we didn't know how to keep him from striking his own face and striking others as well. That was our main goal for the drops. We have seen a 75 to 80% reduction on an everyday basis. He does go through some cycles, and we haven't figured out enough data. We do keep a journal every single day, and that journal will tell you how he's responding, how much more he's sleeping. He's increased sleep, doubled the amount of sleep. And even now, when he does wake up in the middle of the night, it's not that frustration level that he exhibited before. He doesn't wake up angry and hitting. There are times where we wouldn't understand, where he was 3 o'clock in the morning, jolted awake and start beating his face. That is the very true reality of living with a child, a nonverbal autistic. So even now, when he does wake up, and he sometimes will only sleep 3 or 4 hours, but that intensity of violence is not there. It is reduced 90%. So for us, we weren't expecting to see absolutely a miraculous no more meltdowns. We expected to see meltdowns, but the severity is much decreased. His sleep habits are better, and I think that's what's actually helped him be more productive at school and to be more of a normal kid, so that he's not always looked at as the novelty at school and the different kid. He's actually starting to blend in a little.
Yeah, he still gets frustrated quite a bit. You know, I mean, he'll like this morning, for some reason, we have an old Pac-Man machine, and it wasn't working for the longest time, and he decided he wanted it now. And it's like with any kid, I want it now, but I couldn't do nothing about it since I couldn't repair it myself. He thought I could, but I couldn't. So he would still get frustrated, but it's subsided a lot. Normally it would have been all day long. He was frustrated. He hit himself in the nose a little bit. He still has meltdowns, but I noticed today I gave him during his meltdown I gave him another drop, and that seemed to smooth him out today. So it was very helpful.
And make no mistake, it's not a matter when we say giving him a drop. I know that I've been criticized for getting my child high, which is furthest from the truth. In fact, it couldn't be any further from the truth. There is no high factor. You don't see a glazed look on William or some sort of a change. It's gradual, and there's absolutely no reduction in his ability to understand. This is not getting high. This is a tool to give William so that he can know how to calm his own body down. That's why he puts his tongue out for it. He knows it's there for his benefit. He likes the way that it enables him to collect his thoughts. It helps him to feel like a normal child.
Like when he has a super bad headache, and he doesn't like the Tylenol, but when he has a bad headache, he knows that Tylenol is going to, guess what, help him. Just like this, he knows. I think he knows that when I give him these drops, it's going to smooth him out, and it's going to help him.
Unfortunately, most of the time that I have questions for them is 1 or 2 in the morning, and it's easy to do it through the computer. I don't have to wait for a call back. They can just access the program online, the patient portal, and it has all of his information in there. I like that ease. It's done very professionally, very well, just like all medicine should. We take it very seriously and we keep it up to date, but it's pretty easy and it takes very little time. And I'm not very computer savvy, so for me to be able to complete everything within a few minutes was a good thing for us. We like having the ease of the computer program. We've been very reluctant to put William on anything, to medicate him at all, but this feels right. This is an all-natural, cannabinoid-based medicinal program. This is medicine to help calm the things that are frustrating William on a daily basis. This was not an easy decision. I think that parents need to lose the stigma attached to what they believe is a drug and a harmful drug. It couldn't be more further from the truth. And you can see from everything we've told you about William, we have never medicated him, ever given him pharmaceuticals of any kind. We've been very careful in choosing the right product and the right program. This feels right, and parents need to do the research, ask questions, and once they start to realize that this is to be taken serious as a cannabinoid-based medicinal program and not as something that's been taken lightly, and the research behind it and how well educated these people are and their passion for what they do, that is what brought us here. And my only thing is we should have did it sooner, but you cannot wait. There is hope to calm down the violent tendencies in kids that come on with hormones and autism. This is a chance for you to better improve your life and the lives of the people around you. This is the first option made available without the side effects that we see from all the common pharmaceuticals that are prescribed for autism.
Yeah, we're so thankful there is a program like this for our little guy. It's been huge for us.
It's actually given us a chance to have a semi-normal life.